So I think this is the next session of our knowledge series under KSN banner called KISS. And we are very proud to have Nandakishor, who is the founder and MD of DeepFlow Technologies, right? Today talking about and sharing about the AI and ML, basically how AI and ML can be best suited for entrepreneurs. That's going to be the topic today. And DeepFlow Technologies is a startup, from Government College, Kannur. And I think four of Nandakishor and three of his friends have started this company. And it's been DPIT recognized, and they are pretty good. They're recognized by Kerala Startup Mission as well. And they're doing a lot of good work in the data analytics, image processing, and if I remember right, on robotics as well. So quite a good amount of recognition there, and I remember that they are doing something on the agriculture side. So with that, I would request Nandakishor to enlighten the rest of the members with AI and ML to give us sort of an education on how AI and ML will be best suited for we as an entrepreneur. Over to you, Nandakishor. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Okay, I think I'm going to share the screen. I think the voice is clear, right?
Yes, it's clear.
Okay. So the screen is visible,
Yes.
right?
Yep.
Yep. Okay, great. So decoding AI and ML for entrepreneurs. So that's basically our topic today. Let's head on to the profile section. Myself, Nandakishor, and I'm an Udemy AI teacher teaching students in deep learning, machine learning, and AI in Udemy platform. I'm the managing director of DeepFlow Technologies, which is a startup currently incubated in MyZone, Malabar Innovation Zone, Kannur. And also currently we got an incubation in IM Bangalore in NSRCL program. So recently we got incubated on IAMB. So the official website is given below, www.deepflow.in. If you want to visit what exactly what we are doing, you can visit our website. So I'm not going to talk about what is AI, what is machine learning, what is deep learning. It's kind of basic stuff. And we are not focusing, as an entrepreneur, we are not focusing on what exactly the AI and ML stuff is. What we are focusing on is automation, how you can automate boring stuff, how you can understand understand huge amount of data, your random data or stochastic data, how you can extract meaning from that kind of data. So the main application of AI is automating boring stuff. So simply speaking, difference between AI and automation is actually leveraging the prediction to an automation. That's the ultimate application of AI. You develop an AI model or an AI algo. You make you understand your problem in your company. You automate that problem. You find a solution and you automate it. So that's the core stuff that an entrepreneur need when we are dealing with AI. I think my camera is not visible, right? Camera. Okay. So AI and machine learning in industries. When we are dealing with AI or machine learning in specific, we have to go for the applications. How we can implement the technology into our existing architecture or existing company workflow. So the first one is actually the error detection. That's identify the errors in your manufacturing systems. It can be it can be the products that moving toward the conveyor belts, identifying the object and understanding what sort of errors that's happening inside. You can use the vision, computer vision, to identify anomalies in your products. And also in logistics, textile industries, you can apply error detection. So when we are dealing with error detection, you have to identify what is good amount of data and understand what anomaly that's happening when the process is going on. So in case of manufacturing processes, when we are making a product like a baby bottle, some products may be defective. So you can identify the product when we are moving towards the conveyor belt. I put a camera onto the system. On top of it, just identify what is the anomaly in it. So error detection can be a simple example, is something kind of that. Or you can move on to the logistics where a big amount of data is happening. Some anomalies may occur. That may be an error. Identifying it is also an error detection. Then comes the the robotic process automation. So the in RPA is actually one of the leading technology or leading system that has been implemented by many companies. Have been worked on automation in your RPA and also in Pega platform, Pega systems. So most of these kind of automation helps you in making your boring stuff like sales order maintenance. Like you have a plenty of sales order happening, you have to maintain it, you have to make a database system. But when it comes to a huge amount of data, making it using a conventional or in a supervised manner with your employees kind of a hectic job. You need to have a lot of employees to do it. Reducing that job, reducing that work to work is very important because we are dealing with deadlines. So yeah, making it more automated is kind of a great job when we are dealing with deadlines. And otherwise is automated invoicing and also in bookkeeping in our company. If it's a private limited company, you have to keep your books, you have to have a record onto it, and you can also automate that with this kind of robotic process automations. So there are companies like Pega platforms, automation anywhere, robotic process automation. They are providing their industrial grade tools to do that. So that's it. The second or the third application, I'm going for the third. So the second one is conversational AI systems, which I am actually working with my team for almost a year. The conversational AI is kind of like me, like I am talking to you, I'm giving my knowledge, how I from my experience I'm sharing with you. And if your company if your company have a product, you have to have a like call centers, and also there are chatbot systems. So your product has to be marketed. So in conversational AI systems, what the agent or the AI agent will do is understand your product. First it understand your product, then it communicates the product to your customer. Like you're talking with a human who has sentiment and also has empathy. So most of the chatbot systems are like rule-based systems. You define the rules. For example, it's a Google Rasa. You define the rules like, for example, you want to make a chatbot for your restaurant booking application. You define the rules like your restaurant is on this location, and a customer comes to a chatbot asking, I need to have a book appointment on Wednesday. The chatbot replies like time or something like in which time you have to have your appointment booked. So that kind of conversation has to be comes under the role-based systems. But when it comes to conversational AI, it automates really fast. It understands the context, it understands the sentiment, it understands the intent, and also understands the nuance of the conversation. It understands more on the context that you're speaking. Something like you have to book for 5 people at 10 a.m. on Wednesday. So if you are booking for a meal like a fish or something like that, say you're the customer saying that I have to book 5 people on Wednesday 10 a.m. I like tuna, so something like that. And the board replies like, we have a book slot on 9 a.m. not on 10 a.m. The fish is not tuna, something like a sardine. So go for that. And we can say it's 9 a.m. It's okay. You can go for that. So that kind of conversational AI system is very needed for companies that helps to make a relationship with the customer. So a good relationship will give more interaction towards your website, your application, your products. That kind of psychology is very needed when you're launching a product, or scaling your product. So the fourth one is actually social media analytics and digital marketing. Yes, we know in social media platforms, the data is big, so you have to analyze it. So you can use Apache Spark because which is most of the companies using it. The Spark is actually a clustered machine learning. I mean, the cluster system where a big chunk of data is separated and distributed through the system, and you can use the analytic tools in Spark to do the further analysis. So there's Hadoop is there, Spark is there, and plenty of other frameworks are there. You can use that also. So these are the very minimalistic, but when it comes to machine learning, there are plenty of applications. It's also in healthcare industry, medical image processing, identifying cancers, identifying diabetes, identifying clots, and the application goes on. So the ML applications in various industries go on. And most of the recent studies suggest that if your startup is not on, if your startup is something not related to machine learning, but you're making a lot of traction, you can implement machine learning or deep learning to leverage your products and create a more profit. Rather than saying that it's a AI-based startup, you can anonymity implement AI or machine learning in your existing company and leverage your profit. Okay, and the next one is actually most of you know the cloud and the new era of AI or machine learning or deep learning. So when it comes to cloud platforms, the trend is going with Azure. You can see AWS is there, Azure is there, Google is there, and IBM is there. But the percentage of adoption is going for the AWS architecture, I mean the AWS cloud platform. And also in the recent trend suggests that the Amazon Web Service is most prominent, and also the Azure. But the Google Cloud, they are lacking. They are going for third position, and IBM is also doing their best to make it to the top. So this is the latest trend on Google, the cloud platform, and applying big data, or putting our entrepreneur to a high level using cloud. So this is
1 second, Nandakishor, one clarification. This x-axis, y-axis, can you just, I am not able to read. Can you just tell?
Okay. So the x-axis in this is completeness of the vision. That's the vision by the company, and the next one is the ability to execute. So customers execution to the services, something like that. The ability to execute.
Thank you.
Okay, so I'm gonna cover the Amazon Web Service, which is the most used cloud platform as of now. So as a company, and as a starter in cloud platform, I go into the AWS, and during my freelancing times, I go into that, and you can see the AWS Activate is one of the great one to have your credits on the AWS. If you have a private limited company or LLP company, you can just head on to the AWS Activate, apply now, click on apply now, and give your details. You can have $1,000 credit. You don't have to be incubated. You don't have to be accelerated by any ventures. You just have to visit the website, click on apply now. You can have $1,000 credits, which you can use to run your service, run the AWS services. or if you have incubated in any accelerators, or in IIM Bangalore, or like any other prominent accelerator programs or incubation programs, you can contact them and can get access to around $100,000 credits. And when it comes to cloud credits, it's what keep us without spending much money on that kind of services. We don't have to spend anything. The cloud credit will help us to run any system, even machine learning inference servers, GPU supported servers, you can implement on that. And you don't have to worry about anything. You don't have to have a credit card in AWS, because it works on the debit card. I am using my debit card. You don't have to have any credit card, so you can use your debit card to AWS. And in AWS, just head on to the AWS website, and you can actually train your model. If you are an ML developer, you can train your model on SageMaker and also deploy. So there are notebook instances. If you want to train your model on your system, you can do it. And if you can implement as an API, you can also do that, because there are a perfect pipeline is there, and also a perfect documentation to do your if you have any doubts, and also there are GitHub repos to do it. So the pipeline is that something like this. You can train it, you can deploy your models. And this is the one that like no coders have to have a lot of use, like AWS TextRack, which actually extract the text from a document. I have used the AWS TextRack API in testing my system using Python Boto 3. You can use AWS TextRack to extract text from a large document. If it's a PDF, you can do it. If it's a JPG or image file, you can do it. And there's plenty of options to fine tune it, even if you have an experience in image processing. So the AWS extract is there, and AWS comprehend is actually like sentiment analysis, and also extracting the intent, attributes, and other stuff from a text. So if your customer is typing positive reviews, you can actually identify if it's a positive review. And if its customer is typing something related to a place or a human being or something like clothes or anything, you can use the comprehend platform. You can also define your own set of keywords that can be extracted. So the sentiment analysis, intent, attributes, everything can be done with comprehend. And AWS Translate is just translating from language to language, from Chinese language to English, English to Portuguese, or anything like Malayalam, or I think Malayalam is not supported. No, yeah, Malayalam is also supported. So most of the language is also supported. And Poly is actually the text to speech. So Amazon Poly is actually if you have a product, something like if you want to develop a product and you have to give your product with a voice. That means when we are demoing our product, it has to be a video or something like that. You have to put it on the YouTube. But if you're not a native English speaker, your Indian English may suck. So that means you have to have a English speaker or British English speaker to do it. You have to have a native speaker. If you don't have that kind of connection, and you don't have to spend a lot of money on that, you can use the Poly, which is not as much good, but it's good. You can fine tune it. You can fine tune your text and put a comma or something like that to make it more human-like. So Amazon Poly is actually text to speech. Give your text a sound. That's the overview of most of the services that are categorized under AI and TL in AWS. And next, let's go on to how, if you are a developer or who are interested in artificial intelligence, machine learning, deep learning kind of stuff, there are two ways to do it. The first one is the top-down approach, and the second one is bottom-up approach. So I'm going to say the top-down approach, which I'm considered more comfort in my specific in my personal experience. So I'm going to share the top-down approach. So the first one is learning Python, because most of the libraries, most of the AI or machine learning libraries are implemented in Python. If you are interested, you can go onto this website or go onto the YouTube channel by Sendex. You can go onto that, because I'm not going to give a lot of examples, because that many choices may not good in this case. You can go onto this website. Then learn higher level libraries like TensorFlow, PyTorch. If you are an AI developer, and if you want to be an AI developer, go onto their official website, take the course. Yeah, there are plenty of tutorials over there, and there's a TensorFlow course is also there, a certified course. I mean, yep, TensorFlow, they are providing a certified course on that. Just take it. And the third one is actually Kaggle. Some of the developers may know it. They have plenty of data that you can actually go onto the Kaggle website, participate in hackathons, or just use the existing notebooks. Notebooks actually like an environment to like an environment to train or visualize your data, explore the data, something like that. So go on to the website, Kaggle website, fine-tune your skills, and also familiarize cloud platforms. It's not that much tough. You can go to the AWS or Google Cloud or IBM, any of the website. They have their own very well documented tutorials, and along with good support, you can ask your doubt on the community page. And the fifth one is actually reading books. So if you want to improve your knowledge, your theoretical knowledge on machine learning or deep learning, you have to go for books. So the most of the books and there are plenty of recommendations. You just Google it, the best book for AI, machine learning, deep learning, Python 3, or something like that. Try Googling it. You can get a lot of books. And I personally suggest some of the books like Goodfellow's Deep Learning, and Franco Escola, the creator of Keras API. So he has a book called Deep Learning with Python. And other recommendation is from PyImage Search, Adrian from PyImage Search. So you can go to the PyImage Search website and look for the best programming books to learn artificial intelligence, machine learning, and deep learning. So these are the books, and I'm explaining this one more time. You can learning AI MLDL is actually go for Python 3, learn higher level libraries, go to Kaggle platforms, familiarize cloud platforms. If you're not so technical guy, you can go for the cloud platforms. You can use out of the box services from AWS Cloud or any other cloud providers, and go for reading books. If you're not a technical guy, try ignoring this one. Only focus on the cloud one. You can implement any of the AI application that can be done on your local system, can be implemented on the cloud itself. So no worry on that. There's a no-code system. You don't have to worry about the programming part. Everything is over there. Just use the services. Okay, for this learning AI MLDL. Then the main motive of our talk is how you can, as I explained earlier, how you can introduce your AI specifically for your venture. So the path in which you can do it, how you can implement the AI or machine learning part on your venture. So how to integrate. So first one is actually identify the problem that needs to be automated or analyzed. So identifying the problem is very important, because you don't have to solve everything with machine learning. So there's a like a trend happened in 2 years back when machine learning has bloomed, large implementation of convolutional neural networks. When TensorFlow released their 1.5 versions and 1.6 1.5 plus versions, that's 1.x versions. there's a plenty of startups happen, bloomed, like saying that we are AI startups, but what they are actually doing is they're just using regression or very machine learning basics in their specific companies, saying that we are AI companies, we solve problems using AI. No, that's not they are doing. They're just automating a small amount of tasks which doesn't need to be automated. So identifying the core problem is important. You don't have to apply AI or AI or machine learning on your every stuff. You just need to focus on one problem that desperately need to solve by machine learning or deep learning or AI in specific. So identify the problem that needs to be automated. It can be like a booking application. You can use a chatbot to book your uh, book for you. If you have a restaurant, you can book for that. If you have a like a medical company that need to connect the doctors with patients, you can book for doctors for using your chatbot, or something, because we are going online. So everyone is in home. So you can connect your customers using chatbots, or you can use machine learning, big data analysis like Amazon Athena. So they have the SQL system, and I mean the big data analysis in SQL. You can upload your data to Amazon S3 and using Athena to analyze your text data. If you have if you are planning for a social media marketing, you can take the data from your customer, upload the data to the cloud in Amazon S3. S3 is like a Google Drive. Upload it to the S3, and using Amazon Athena, you can analyze the data. So big data analysis, that's a problem. So you're dealing with petabytes of data. So you can use that to analyze. So that's identifying the problem. So the next one is brainstorming. The best strategy to solve your problem. So if it's a automating problem, or the automation problem, it has to be you have to communicate with your technical team, or you have to communicate the data analyst or data scientist in specific. What kind of strategy it has to be done to solve this particular problem. If you want to go for cloud, go for it. If you want to train your model, collect your data, train your model on a system, you can go for it. Or train your model on Google Colab, which is a free cloud platform by Google. You can just train on Google Colab if you have a lot of data, and trying to brainstorm with your team. If you don't have a machine learning or data scientist team, connect with them in LinkedIn. So go for searching for data scientists. There are plenty of people over there. Just connect with them, or go for Facebook groups like artificial intelligence and deep learning groups. There's AIDL group is there, which is I'm an active member in the group. And in the early times, the group has members in prominent deep learning, like uh, research, like Andrew and Jay. He has been there in the previous time, but nowadays he's not there. And a lot of people are there, and Adrian is also there from PyMate Search. He's also in that group. So you can connect, even if you can connect on Adrian on the LinkedIn platform. You can contact him directly, or connect with people in data science. You can go for uh, like um, like freelancing website. Go for that. So there's a plenty of freelance work website is there. Go for that. Connect with the data scientist and try to brainstorm your ideas with them. So that's brainstorming. If you don't have a set of people that are working on the specific skill area. So that's the brainstorming part. After defining which service or which task you have to solve, or which platform you have to use to solve the problem, go for the design part. So try to design your product. It can be an API, or it can be an SDK, or it can be an existing like an existing API that can be modified with machine learning. You can do that. So there's plenty of tools available there. try to search for it or try to communicate with people that know this kind of tools. And after that, you can deploy your model and say, and you can assure that it's using machine learning. But most of the entrepreneurs throw words like AI. We are using AI, but when we ask exactly what they are doing, they may not know what AI part is implemented. So that's one of the hardest part, when explainability has to be defined, how your model performing. So when we are going for investment, if a technical data scientist is over there, he surely ask how this kind of how's the accuracy, how accurate your model is, how is the biasing, how much data you're collected. Biasing actually means a set of data you're collecting cannot be sometimes they may not be diverse, and the biasing occurs when the model converts it to a certain set of data, and the model performs well on that data. But uh, when it comes to human cognition, it is not that much better. So the biasing is most prominent in face recognition systems, where people with dark skin identified as gorilla. So that's explain the case in which a face recognition algorithm or face recognition model identify a black person as a gorilla. So imagine the severity of that case. So that kind of biasing has to be analyzed. So you can make a team to analyze this kind of problem. That is biasing in machine learning models. It's a separate topic. I'm not going to cover that in here. So these are the part: identify your problem, brainstorm it. If you are going for cloud, go for it. If you are to train your model on local system, go for it. But you have to have a GPU when you're dealing with a lot of data. I think most I'm going to recommend you go for the cloud. So I personally use AWS P2X large instances, P2 8X large instances, because that's accelerated instances. You can request that instance on the AWS platform, where the 8X is actually stand for the Tesla K18 GPU with 8 Tesla K18 GPU. So that's parallel processing. So you have your data, if it's a petabyte data, or something like million data. So I'm going for a petabyte. So if it's a million data points, so if you want to train that model, it's computationally expensive. You cannot train on your system. Go for the cloud. Go for SageMaker. Go for Google Cloud Platform. Use their GPU, because they are giants. They have a set of parallel GPUs available, readily available. You can go for that. And if you have credit, don't worry about draining your credit card. Use that credit to train your model. So that's the brainstorming part, and go for the design and deploy. So you can go for the documentation, how you can deploy your model or serve your model, so that we are going serving your model. You can do that using an API. You can use Django or Flask or any other backend API or RESTful API to do it. So this is how to integrate part. So make it simple. So I'm going to make it everything simple. So the data and your existing system, you apply machine learning, and the output is an API or an SDK, software development kit, where you can implement on your system. So let's make it simple. You have your data. If it's a like social media platform, it's you're collecting data from the social media platform. You can distribute it using the Apache Spark, or you can use Hadoop, and you can use Athena to analyze it, or you can train the model. You can train your model to identify the sentiment in the data if it's a conversation to your product. So when we are when we are deploying our product in the market, people respond to our product. So the data accumulate over time. So the data has to be pipelined to a system that has to be analyzed and make analysis and give some graphs, dashboards. And there are plenty of websites that are already available to visualize your data. You can just upload your data and visualize it, or you can use the existing cloud platform to visualize it. Just you stream your data, just stream your input data to the system, and either use any API or SDKs actually for your machine learning training and deploying to your application, or you can just analyze it if it's a streaming data. I think that concludes our section. But I'm going to cover some of the things that are highlighted, so I'm going to go for that. So the important things that a non-coder has to think about. So this application one. So where you can apply your machine learning part or the AI part in your existing system, because we are not making another startup. We are using AI ML for our system. So you can use existing service providers. You can use cloud. You can use automation enabled Pega platforms or any other companies that do the robotic process automation and also error detection. And this company called AI.C by Elunic is also doing what I am said, the computer vision one. You can go onto the website and how they are doing. You can understand how they are doing and implement on our system, our own local companies. Because in Kerala, I think the trend is not up to that mark. I don't know if there's a company doing that, but it's not that predominant as of now. Go for it. It's an open market. Go for error detection, conversational AI, chatbot systems, analytics, digital marketing. Then this is not needed. This is an overview of AWS, which I'm actually working on it. So these things that you can do, sentimental analysis kind of stuff. This one is actually, as I explained earlier, Amazon S3 is actually a storage system. Lambda is actually a function. AWS Lambda is a function, a triggering function, where you upload your data to S3, where it will trigger the function and do the comprehend analysis. So if you have a bunch of data, you just upload to the S3, and it will return with a bunch of attributes, sentiment, and understand the location. If they're specifying their location, you can understand the location. Most of this one is actually reviews, as I explained earlier, reviews. And this one is actually if you have a website and people that has some vision problems and cannot communicate it very well, because I'm using specs. So if someone cannot read it, you can use Poly. So you can integrate Poly on your website and use the Poly API to read your website. So the Poly is actually very good when you're dealing with people that have vision problems. And Translate is actually implementing AWS Translate will give you translate from one language to another one, which is very important when we are dealing with companies that are going for MNCs. And then the learning that I explained 2 times. And this also I explained 2 times, and make it simple. And that's it. I think it's early.
Nandakishor, I think we are open for questions, right? We can get into a discussion. So fantastic. I think we got a very good idea, but I got a couple of questions that came out of my mind, right? So I'll just pass it on. So I have the liberty of asking the first questions, and then I'll leave it to the audience later on, okay?
Sure.
So my first question that came in my mind is, you are a triple E guy, right?
Yep.
And what is your fascination on the AI and ML? How did you get into this? It is very different from what triple E does, right?
Yes. Sure. So my journey started when I'm actually not very interested in machine learning, because I'm actually a bioscience guy. So I'm in my +2 I studied biology, not computer science, and during my second year of time, I go on to the nanotechnology, and with my professor and along with him, I researched on graphene, which is basically a single layer of graphite. So after that, I filed a patent, provisional patent, and something like that. I'm going for the nanotechnology part. So after in the third year, I think after third year, the machine learning blooming years has been happening. So plenty of people are talking about machine learning, deep learning, and applications, computer vision, autonomous vehicles. So it's like something new to me. So I head on to the YouTube and search for machine learning using Python and understand the how it actually works. So basically, I started with linear regression, decision tree, something very basic when it comes to machine learning. And starting from that, exploratory data analysis, Kaggle platforms, going for the Kaggle, then make an account on GitHub. And from there, move on to the computer vision part, because that's the real application when it comes to AI. You're not dealing with text anymore, you're dealing with vision. So I saw a guy from IIT Madras coming to our college, and he just pointed a ball in front of the camera, and in the projector you can see when he moves the ball, it tracks the the bounding box has been drawn to the ball and it's just tracking it. So that's kind of technology is actually it's amazing when it comes to me. So I try to learn it and try to search for it. Just searching for that, I got some GitHub repos just implemented, and after that we made the company and just move on to the data science part. That's all started.
Great. Nandakishor, can we get out of the screen share so that I can put it onto gallery so that all the people can be visible?
Okay.
Great. So the next question or next thing that I wanted to check with you is, see, we are talking about AI, robotics, and all this stuff, right? I'm coming from a different segment, right? I'm coming from, let's say, a SMB and MSME segment. And the most of the questions that you asked me is, all this robotics, AI you're talking about, that is going to eat up jobs, right? So what is your perception on that? Is it going to reduce the jobs or it's going to increase the jobs? Because both are pros and cons. But what is your thinking on that?
Okay. So basically, a set of skill set is needed when it comes to data science. You have to have very thorough knowledge on mathematics, concept like probability, differential equation, partial differential equations. Like most of the machine learning parts has to be in basic. So in our electrical engineering, we cover most of this kind of stuff in second year or third year. So after that, you have to have like a lot of concept in libraries like TensorFlow, PyTorch, or scikit-learn, kind of data analytics libraries. So the job that we are talking about and automating that kind of stuff is it's a tough job when we are dealing with skill set. It's a tough one. Most of the people cannot become a data scientist. That's a problem. And we are automating this kind of stuff, the boring stuff that I explained earlier. But it's not completely automating. The supervision has to be there, and most of the automation is not that much accurate in some of the key skilled areas. So that the job is not going anywhere. It's still there, and infusing the AI ML one comes with its prices. So when it comes to cloud, it has its own price, and you have to pay for the cloud. So you cannot have credits forever. The credit's gonna lose out, and you have to pay some amount to the cloud. And it's not a small amount. It's maybe high when it's dealing with high amount of data. So each of the service has its own charge. Even if you have a server and you have your own system and you have your own services and you have everything on in-house, that's the problem comes. So most of the jobs that can be automated if you have this kind of something like extracting text, data entry, kind of data entry things can be automated. It's already automated, but completely it can be automated. So when it comes to cloud, it has its own charges. So some of the skill set areas like soft skills cannot be automated. So that's the wonderful part. You cannot automate personal interpersonal skills. So if you are a leader, you cannot make a machine that if you cannot, you may not. I think you may not. In future, there may be a sentient systems kind of system may be there. It's AGI, so artificial general intelligence, artificial super intelligence. So that kind of system is not yet, but maybe there.
Okay, now tell me, see, the challenge is, again, I'm talking about this particular sector, right? Small and medium enterprises, MSME segment, right? Where they are like industries with a turnover of probably less than 500 crores to about 1,000 crores, less than that. Now they come back and the question they ask typically is look at the automobile industry, right? The entire manufacturing and assembly of an automobile has been taken over the robotics, right? And let's say there were about let's assume for a discussion point of view, there might be about thousands of people working. Now we don't need thousands; it may be under tens or maybe hundreds now, right? So there's a loss of it. Right? I understand your point in talking about specific skill, really is there, but when there is a large industry where supply chain or when there is a assembly line which has to be there, which is a mundane job, right? You need to do it, and those jobs are being replaced by robots. Even though let's say that AI and ML and script writing and the data scientists you're talking about in terms of analyzing and all that stuff, you need a different skill set though. But the larger volume or the blue collar jobs that we call, right? That would perish is the fear that is coming out from this particular segment. We obviously go back and tell that being from a technology and from an IT perspective, we'll convince them saying, no, don't worry about it. AI and ML is not going to eat your job. It will give them the benefit and all that stuff. But, in larger enterprises, in larger, industries, do you see a trend in terms of changing the dimensions in terms of the skills and the need of the skills coming out with this emergence of ML, and AI, robotics and stuff and so on?
Okay, so when it comes to manufacturing, the robotics that are like ABB robots, so most of the industrial robots has I'm currently working on robotic operating systems ROS, because recently I'm participating in a competition. So basically I'm working on the robotic arms, specifically arms. My robot is actually using the arm system, so I'm basically working on that. So as an industry perspective, the industrial robots most of them uses ROS and other inbuilt programs or operating systems. They have some of them have in-house operating systems, so they are pinpoint accurate. So when it comes to accuracy, it's like nanosecond, or I'm not gonna say it like the accuracy is much better than most of the people that are working on that sector. So it replacing the people that are working on this specific setting. For example, when the automation, the car industry or the like manufacturing of cars, you see the robots are doing the painting works. In the previous times, people with protective gears comes to the particular area and spray the paint, but now it's using the robots, big giant robots, to do the work. And also it's also incorporating vision into the system, like computer vision, integrating computer vision with depth cameras in specific. Understand the depth perspective of the object will help us to develop a certain set of programs that has great accuracy. It's like a human with an eye doing the job. So when it comes to vision with robotic operating system or ROS, that is another problem. So that's like a machine with a brain. That's something like machine with a brain. It's doing by its own. You don't have to program it. It's just understand the object. It's gone to the system and gone to the position, take it, place it at somewhere else. So that's that when it comes to industrial robots. So it's, most of the time it's replacing people.
Right. See, the other thing is you spoke about four different, sectors, like in terms of industry utilization, right? One was error detection. You spoke about RPA. Then you talk about conversational AI, and then last was about social media and digital marketing. But can you specifically, like from our from a KSN perspective, right? We are from a different industries, different. We are all startups and entrepreneurs from different areas. Now, if you look at each one of them, right, whether you talk about error detection, right, it could be more applicable to anything which is to uh, you know manufacturing, supply chain,
Manufacturing, supply
billing,
chain.
all those types, error detections, packaging, all those type of environments. So, or even when you talk about let's say conversational AI, it's more of like education, edtech, or anything like chatbots you talked about. But
Yeah,
specific to
challenges.
industry, can you give us some examples or some directions in terms of each one of them would be applicable to which type of an industry, best suited, let's say
Okay,
best
okay.
suited to which
So it's like
industry?
mapping a machine learning service to the best,
Industry, yeah,
best
yeah,
industry. Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, great.
So
So,
that if you can give some insight on that, it will be a great stuff for all of us.
okay. So, like, can you give us some example that your, I mean, the Y one, that's I'm mapping one. Which
Yeah.
are the industries that you have to map?
So no, let's say let's say chatbots or conversational AI. Now in today's industry, conversational AI is being used at logistics. It's being used at travel. It is being used at healthcare. It's used in most of the places, right? Even it's
Okay,
used in
okay.
edtech. So similarly, when you say RPA, which industry has adopted RPA more than the rest? So let's say there are 10 industries, right? Within this 10 industries, which is being adopted as much AI and ML has been adopted very or embraced it, on a grade of let's say top 5 or top 3 industries have been picked up. Similarly, when you talk about social media and digital marketing, we all know okay, analytics is part of it. Due to digital analytics, you know, data analytics, that makes sense. But on the rest of the things, like your error detection or conversational AI or RPA, which industries have adopted it, and are they seeing benefits, or are they? I mean, from your experience, are they seeing benefits? If so, what as compared to the rest? If you can just highlight
Okay.
maybe a couple of points.
Okay, the first one is error detection, as I explained earlier, manufacturing industry. In specific, it's manufacturing industries are most used this technology in recent trends, the error detection one. It also including manufacturing has sub branches, including the logistics one is there, and also packaging, and everything is connected to manufacturing. So as a whole, you can say it's a manufacturing industry with subcategories like logistics and also this one. It's like detecting error detection is actually an anomaly detection. So the in specific, you can say it's more related to this particular industry, the manufacturing industry. So the next one is I think conversational AI system. Second one is conversational AI. So the conversational AI system are used in most of the companies. I think it's like a trending product, but it has many use cases. But in specific, I'm speaking the most of the companies that are using is like connecting their customers uh, through kind of this kind of chatbots, and they are, for example, one of the examples I can say the insurance one, the insurance. So when it comes to insurance systems, most of the companies need to have a set of claims. When we give customers same claims, it has to be connected with the best package, best insurance. When we are making an insurance, if it's a vehicle insurance or a health insurance or a medical insurance, something related to that, the chatbots helps the customers to connect to the best package, and it's recently implemented, and it's blooming high. It's in the insurance sector. So the insurance is one of the best example of adopting conversational AI systems. The next one is actually in it's like websites like I think let me Okay, the most of the website, including like social media platforms. As you can see, the social media platforms like Facebook. So you see the Facebook Messenger platforms is there. So you can implement chatbot on the Messenger itself. So most of the companies try to connect their product, like companies like try to sell their, if it's a textile company, they have plenty of options. So I've seen it because I participated in the Facebook hackathon. So from that perspective, the companies that are adopting this kind of technology is quite high. The predominant one is the textile industry in specific. They have, say, you have a lot of clothes, like gents clothes, either different types of clothes, even um, like traditional clothes. So if the user asks for a particular set of clothes, like children, I need to have a child band or something like that, and the AI agent will connect to the photos. I mean, the photos that are very similar to the context or the intent that the customer has been asked. So that's the textile industry is using the Facebook Messenger chatbot systems, and also WhatsApp chatbots are going high. So chatbot conversational AI is in textile industry is using the to promote their system or connect the customers along to the connect the customer to the service. I think the textile industry is part conversational AI is specific.
Great. Thanks, Nandakishor. So I think what I'll do is, Sabu wants to ask a question. So I'll leave it to the audience before I, take up or consume the entire time, right? So I'll give Sabu a chance and then I'll come back to you. Yes, Sabu, please unmute yourself and then you can ask a question to Nandakishor.
Hi. Sorry. Actually, I'm going through a very bad allergy, so my face is all full of boils.
Okay.
I'm not
No
switching
worries.
on my video.
No worries. That's fine.
Yeah, so I'm watching this on my tablet, so I was having some interface issue. You can hear me, right?
Yes, sure. We can hear you.
Hello?
Yeah, I can hear.
Yeah. Actually, I just thought that I'll just widen the scope a little bit because you're talking both as AI as well as in ML. So ML is actually only a tiny part of AI. Artificial intelligence is a kind of a very vast way of programming rather than, many people think that it is about intelligence. It is actually a way of using a computer so that you can utilize certain different ways of being productive with computers. So I am quite extensively involved in Prolog, which is one of the oldest AI languages. And what I see over this last 30 years is that there is this resurgence of wanting to do this very fine divide and conquer. One major danger in machine learning is that a lot of data which is provided to us are from very poor sources. And many of these large companies are probably exploiting us. Like, for example, a very simple thing which many of you know is the captcha. Okay. Nowadays, you will see a lot of captchas which is giving road images, like, identify cycles or identify traffic lights and things like that. That is because they are building their data for cleaning up their projects in what is that, driverless cars and things like that. The kind of thing which AI actually does is much vaster than just machine learning. Like, for example, in Prolog, you have a concept called backtracking. That means you define the logic of a particular problem, and instead of coding the logic the way you would do, say, in Python or C or whatever, all the what do you say, procedural languages or imperative languages. Instead of that, you declare the goal which you want to achieve. Okay, and when you declare the goal which you want to achieve, Prolog has got enough intelligence to work out an algorithm, so to speak, and it will actually walk backward. These kind of, why am I mentioning this is because in case people listening to this is interested in AI, and if you think that AI means ML, I wanted to broaden the scope and say that it is not ML actually, because there's a whole lot of work which is done where you can actually do fault tolerant software which will not fail, you know. So there are many things like how do you handle partial data? A lot of data which we get in the real world are not complete. We will not know all the attributes. So how do you program in that? So a lot of AI research, like if you study what people did with Lisp, for example, this guy Marvin Minsky, he later on got into a controversy because of that Epstein problem and all. That guy was quite vehement about the scruffy world, the world which is full of indeterminate and incorrect information, and how do you then program on top of that? That led to a lot of very interesting research. So what I would suggest is, if you really want to get into AI rather than ML, like expert system, for example, which according to me is the need of the day today. Today, expert systems are things which can help, say, an ordinary GP who does not know detailed issues of how COVID is affecting people sitting in some village somewhere. You can augment his knowledge by designing an expert system. Now, these are all little, when some people will say this is dated, but actually, like in computers, old is gold, because it has stood the test of time and it's still there. So a lot of things are actually being done even in today, even with Prolog, like, even in your Windows operating system, some of the key features are actually written in Prolog. Some of the things which happened. So there are many things.
Sorry to cut you off, Sabu. I think your expertise on AI is pretty vast. The type of research that you've done, the type of engagement you have done it, and I was trying to get into your expertise. So I think what we would love is to have a session specifically on that. From a holistic view.
I can give you a pretty good overview about the whole landscape of what AI really means. Machine learning is a recent phenomena which a lot of people have got excitement without realizing the dangers in it. There are some very serious dangers in machine learning.
Right. So you can probably do a 10,000 feet view of usage of AI. And probably the goods and bads, sort of a thing. We will set up some time.
Because we need to.
That's great.
As it is, computers is a very young subject. Computers is a very young subject. It is only 8 years old, and internet is only 30 years old. So we must be very cautious to sit and figure out what are the boundaries of all these topics.
Sure.
Like if you were to read, I see if I have that book somewhere in my house. One of the old books on AI gives a very interesting episode from Gulliver's Travel. Gulliver's Travel was written by Jonathan Swift, and nowadays it is considered as a children's book. Actually, when it was originally published, it was a satirist. I mean, he was considered as an adult satirist. He was mocking all the society of that day. And that particular book was talking about the way AI was being handled. And there is this very nice incident about this. So there are many things which definitely needs to be put in front of everybody, and so that we can take a step back and see which is the one which we should pick and choose.
Sure. I think we will work it out. We would need some.
Sure. It'll be nice. I can give you a small training on how to use Prolog. It's about half a day's of work.
Fantastic. No, we will schedule.
I think the Prolog, as explained earlier, the Prolog one is very similar to reinforcement learning, where reinforcement learning, you a set of goal is there, you apply policy gradient or Q learning, you use the feedback loop is happening, and
in Prolog you do what is known as a declarative programming, and then you use Actually, Prolog is the only language which came from mathematics, the subject of logics in mathematics. So they are called horn clauses. So you defined the goals, and the way that it actually works very differently from whatever you must have experienced. If you have not experienced Prolog, actually stands in its own different category.
Great, great, great.
So I think we will set it up something some different session for Mr. Sabu to enlighten
Take a
us
look
on
at
that.
it. I'm not trying to say that whatever which is happening is wrong completely per se, but we must always, whatever, even in Prolog, I must be very cautious about what are the boundaries of Prolog itself, or list
Very
for
true.
it, that matter.
Very true. Very true.
Everything needs to be understood from the context of the boundary at which the edge condition starts failing.
Sure.
And the biggest headache with machine learning is there's a huge amount of manipulation which is going on.
Yeah. So, and also these days the jargons play a pretty big role, right? As soon as you say that it's a startup,
That is why I was mentioning the Gulliver's Travel. It is quite sarcastic that that
Yes.
book was talking about Gulliver's Travel in a very sarcastic manner. I'll give you a reference.
Very true. All right.
Yeah.
So Mr. Francis wants to ask a question. Mr. Francis,
Sure.
sir.
Okay.
Sir, please unmute yourself. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. First of all, I am not from a technology background, IT. So I have only understood 10 or 20% of what you told. But whatever I understood, it is very, very useful. You have given number of examples also. Definitely, there is a limitation in telling full information in half an hour or even 1 hour. So within that limit, you have told very, very useful things. I think many entrepreneurs will be able to take up from this. So having told I don't have any IT background, I can share some my experience because I was there in Toronto for 1 year. So there I was, I could attend almost more than 10 lectures related to artificial intelligence and machine learning. Definitely, I could again follow only 10% of that. But where you can apply, what all places they are trying to apply, I can give to this audience because number of entrepreneurs are there. Many things you have covered, Nandakishor, but what I may be useful for the future entrepreneurs, especially you want to use in. So what I am telling, I may not fully understand, but you people will be able to understand things better than what I have understood. So that is why. So this Mars Innovation Center, you may be knowing, those who are
Yes.
working in they claim they are the first people who introduced artificial intelligence. I don't know whether they are right or wrong. Maybe many other organizations may claim. So that place they arrange very frequent seminars. So one of the seminar I attended was 5-day innovation week on health innovation week, 5-day seminar. I attended more than 20-25 lectures within 5 days. Well, at least 10 was on artificial intelligence. It was going on different halls, so I could attend only that much. So there are some case examples they were telling related to application. One they were telling, very complex diseases, especially you hinted about cancer or any other complex diseases. What they are telling, big area where they are trying to apply it. They have started using, but they want to further improve it. And the reason why they're telling a serious cancer patient comes to a final diagnosis stage, they will have at least 500 pages of reports, investigation, test reports, etc. So they find the doctors are likely to make an error to find the correct diagnosis. So they are developing software. So they have developed them. They were actually demonstrating, but the demonstration and all I could not understand anything. But I am giving many entrepreneurs here, very young entrepreneurs are trying to work very adventurous and futuristic works. So this is something I learned. This one area they are applying. So they are able to, it's a decision supporting system. They are not going to replace doctors anywhere in the near future because a lot of research is happening every day. So whatever machine learning, what you put into the machine, that machine only knows that currently. Maybe future machine may learn from its environment also. So the data is to be updated. So, but definitely they have started using as a decision support system to the doctors. That is one area. Another area again related to cancer, what they are telling, most of us know. Is there any problem if I take more time?
No issue.
Okay.
No, I
I
think,
think
yeah.
I want to give some information to entrepreneurs so that some area they can start working right away. So one area they found, the cancer when it starts in a person, in most of the cases that in 6 months to 1 year it becomes to a level phase 3 or 4, which you cannot treat. No more uh, hope in treating. That is and they find diagnosing time in cancer itself in a complex cases, it takes 6 months to 1 year in Canada. So they found this is a challenge. So they started using this, whatever our Nandakishor was telling, machine learning, artificial, I don't know, all terminologies. They are applying that. They are doing real research. This is 2 year back to bring down the time at least within 3 months. That is 1 year diagnosis time. They want to cut short into 3 months or further less. Say first target 3 months, then next target may be still short. So they are closely applying these techniques. Probably this by this time they may be applying. My information is 2 years back. And similarly, education, various sectors they were telling. And interestingly, it may not be for entrepreneurs. I have found another seminar. This is done in the University of Toronto. They have got an engineering innovation entrepreneur center. So there they were doing the issues related to digital technology, artificial intelligence, etc. How ethics works, and how these are the area, how art interacts, how ethics interacts. So it's a very interesting way how they conduct seminar. It's conducted by IT department. There is a department of ethics. I don't know anywhere in India such a department is there. Then it is combined by electrical electronics, the EEE department. Like that, almost 6-7 various departments combinedly they have done this. That is why very interesting. Also, there was a art department also. So the art department they are demonstrating, they are using artificial intelligence. They feed all data, for example, Picasso paintings. That machine learns it. Then they take a photograph, a scenery or some a portrait, then feed to the machine. That machine will tell if Picasso has seen this picture, how you would have drawn. He gives out pictures. Probably I am doing a brainstorming, triggering your mind. So
Yes.
this is the way. Some may be useless, some may be useful, but people should learn these things and start applying. Definitely, as Nandakishor indicated, our focus should be a problem which is useful for society. If
Yes.
you think you can find hundreds of applications, and the youngsters, I am old man, I have no time to learn these things, but youngsters should learn these things and find real problem and solve it. Another thing I will tell you, now COVID, we are living through COVID, we are having lot of problems, but the experts are telling after COVID, you are going to get much more problems to the society. It's a multi-dimensional. It is not only technology, it is not only health, it may be related to psychology, may be
Mental health.
related to child development. See, now children are confined to home. When they go to school after 2-3 years, how they will behave here. See, these problems definitely I feel psychologists are trying, but it may not be within their hand if they are not supported by new technologies like artificial intelligence. See, they
Yes.
may not even understand how a child after COVID, how they are going. Even people, see, I find last 1 year, when I talk to people, my relative friends, the way they have talked is entirely different. It has affected them. So communicating with some of the people becomes easier, and communicating with some of the people becomes very, very difficult. So I think these are the future problems our youngsters should address, not only limit to only small application,
Yep.
trading, how to make, definitely that is also immediate need. But future, you have to apply this artificial and machine learning, etc. More details you get. You should
Yeah.
look for
And
real problem. So I
when
will
it comes to
stop here.
COVID-19,
Thank you very much. You please continue.
sir, I'm just highlighting on the mental health part on the COVID-19. In the recent seminar on the YouTube, I've attended some of the seminars on YouTube, and from that perspective, people have a lot of depression. Even the frontline workers, they are working 24/7 onto the in ICUs or in the clinics. So they have their own problems when it comes to frontline. Even frontline workers are desperately working, and the mental health is a great problem, and it can be. I mean, I'm actually working for a solution. I'm building conversational AI systems where it's not possible, but in future it may be possible, like chatting with your with an agent that has emotions. So you can chat with your agent. It can be an application. There's an application called Replica is there, an Android application, but it has its own limitation. But something more personal, some agent, some AI agent that understand us, some AI agent that help us in our desperate times, some AI agent that give us suggestions, motivate us, do your exercise, talk with your people, talk with your friends, say something like that. Some agent, some AI agent that I'm actually desperately working on, that we made an API system that's not that much accurate, but somewhat it understands the context story of your conversation. Say you're saying I'm feeling sad, it asks why you're feeling sad. So you're saying that something like the day is getting worse, the COVID-19 is striking fast. So it responds something it's going to be over, you have to wait. So that kind of system is actually we are developing. We are almost not 100%, but almost 60% we are reaching for it. I'm actually desperately working on the system because it's the need. I need people from the KSN to actively participate in so this kind of initiative. So if you've gone to our website, there's a section called the product section. There's you have the creative lab. I'm gonna put the website here. Hold.
So, Nandakishor, while you are typing in the creativelab.deepflow.ai, I think Manoj is there. He wants to ask a question. Then Mr. Dr. Jain is, share some of his questions as well. So, Manoj, I'll leave it to you. Good evening.
Yeah, good evening, Nandakishor. Because my question is on NLP, and how far are we into NLP models for Indian languages?
Okay, so the main problem when it comes to regional languages like Indian languages, Malayalam, Urdu, Tamil, Kannada, the data set has a bias, certain sort of biasing. Even when local languages like Malayalam, when it takes to Malayalam, the Kasaragod, which I'm from, is completely different from Thiruvananthapuram or Kollam or Idukki or Wayanad. So the regional language variations cannot be identified. The data set is quite small to identify that kind of nuances. So when it comes to NLP, the problem is this regional language fluctuations. But when it comes to British English or American English, it has the pattern. The fluctuation is not like something like this. It's something like this. It's not fluctuating like this. So the fluctuation is not that much predominant in that kind of area. So the NLP, when you are applying transformers or you are going for a sequential modeling, this problem may occur, and it may overfit your model or underfit your model. So that's the problem happens when it comes to NLP.
So it's still in a very nascent stage.
Yes, I think most of the companies doing this in anonymous manner. So they are collecting the data. I think the best one is the Manglish keyboard. They have a great model. I think they have a best model to identify the language that we speak and convert it to text, speech to text. They have the best model. So I think they are made a better model by collecting a lot of data.
Manoj, I think the challenge is the dialects that we have, right? Even in
Exactly.
Malayalam,
Exactly. No, that is why I was so curious, because Nandakishor, the context is we are just working on the socio-emotional learning space. So it's very critical. Especially, we started our journey from the marginalized society. That's where we started. So it's and those are the communities where who are not equipped with the kind of English and such languages where all this technology, everything is now going around. And even if you take, say, for example, in the socio-emotional learning itself, the vocabulary of the socio-emotional learning there, and see, many of them, you can't even find words in Malayalam. In Malayalam itself, you can see, you just take anger. Anger has got various levels. So, നമ്മൾ മലയാളത്തിൽ ദേഷ്യം എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞു കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ ഒരു തീർന്നു. കൂടി വന്നാൽ എനിക്ക് ഭയങ്കരമായിട്ട് ദേഷ്യം വരുന്നു. ഇങ്ങനെ പല, പക്ഷേ in English, so especially when it comes to the the science or the psychology thing, it has got various levels, and so so these are the so Malayalam itself, you have a problem in expressing these emotions appropriately. See, expressing the emotion is very critical when you converse with the person. And so you can then think when it goes to some tribal communities and all, where their Malayalam, even if they speak Malayalam very little, and then if it is their language, the vocabulary is very limited for their basic survival. That is all their vocab. Maybe it could be around typically they use only around 600 to 700 words, which is enough for them for their daily survival and all. Okay, not beyond that. But so that is where we are just trying to see how to sort out this issue, because when we are putting in some conversational AI, and you expect, say, farmers or such people down the level of this category to communicate with our apps and convert this data and process it. So that is where I was just curious to know about the progress in.
So I think the progress. Actually, I trained the conversational AI myself, created the data myself. Most of the time, the fine tuning has been done by myself. From that perspective, what you can do is collect the data as an audio. So most of the data or as an audio or text data, it doesn't matter. And convert the data to text. Ultimately, you have to convert it to text. Then create a data set, annotate it. Annotation can be done, and each of the conversation that we are speaking has like when we post, the episode has been done. So when we are dealing with data set, training it, there's a stop and we move on to the next topic. So there's a pause is there. So that is where the annotation comes in. So you have to annotate the data, then train it using either using conversational AI platform is there. You can train it using Rasa is there. But most of the system doesn't consider these kind of intents or the entities that are speaking in the nuance, the vocabs. Some of the vocabs are completely different, and the corpus of the complete data may vary with. The corpus has these kind of variations. So if you take the whole corpus of a local language, the difference is much larger and dynamic. So considering the labeling is one of the toughest job. So identify the area that has to be labeled correctly and train it. So I am recommending is correct labeling of the data. Then you can either use a transformer. If you're a developer, you can use transformer model, or you can use sequential models. That's a technical part. Anyway, you have to do is collect the data and label it accordingly. So after that, you can train the model.
Thank you so much for the information. Any further things
We can
I will contact
offline.
Yeah.
Okay, so next is Mr. Jayan. Dr. Jayan, please.
Yes. Nandakishor, ഒരു കോംപ്ലക്സ് സബ്ജക്റ്റ് ആയിരുന്നെങ്കിലും വളരെ കുറച്ച് സമയം കൊണ്ട് നമുക്ക് അതിലേക്കൊരു എന്താ പറയാ ഒരു ഓവർവ്യൂ കിട്ടി. ആൻഡ് മോസ്റ്റ് ഓഫ് അറ്റൻഡീസ് ആർ എന്റർപ്രണേഴ്സ് ആൻഡ് സ്റ്റാർട്ടപ്സ്. അപ്പൊ എന്റെ ഡൗട്ട് എന്താണെന്ന് വെച്ച് കഴിഞ്ഞാല് നമുക്ക് ഈ AI ഉപയോഗിച്ചുകൊണ്ട് how to create new market, how to get new market, how to make sales. മറ്റേ ഡിജിറ്റൽ മാർക്കറ്റിങ്ങും അതല്ല, അതിന്റെ അപ്പുറത്ത് നമുക്ക് എന്തെങ്കിലും ചെയ്യാൻ പറ്റും?
ഓക്കെ, അതായത് ആദ്യം വേണ്ടത് ഇപ്പോഴത്തെ സിറ്റുവേഷനിൽ മലയാളത്തിൽ പറയാലോ?
നമ്മളെല്ലാവരും മലയാളികളാണ്.
ഓക്കെ, അങ്ങനെയാണെങ്കിൽ ഇപ്പോഴത്തെ സിറ്റുവേഷനിൽ കസ്റ്റമേഴ്സിനെ കണക്ട് ചെയ്യലാണ് ഏറ്റവും വലിയ പരിപാടി. ടാർഗറ്റിംഗ് എന്ന് പറയുന്ന പരിപാടി, ഓഡിയൻസിനെ ടാർഗറ്റ് ചെയ്യാന്നുള്ള ഒരു പ്രൊഡക്റ്റ് കിട്ടിക്കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ ഇമോഷണലി അവരെ ഇതിലായിട്ട് അറ്റാച്ച്മെന്റ് കൊണ്ടുവരണം. ആദ്യം തന്നെ എല്ലാ കമ്പനീസും ചെയ്യുന്ന പരിപാടി. ഇപ്പം ഗൂഗിളൊക്കെ എടുത്തു കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ അവരത് പറഞ്ഞു കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ നമ്മൾ യൂസ് ചെയ്യുന്ന ട്രസ്റ്റ് ആണ്, അതൊരു ട്രസ്റ്റ് ആണ്. ആ ഒരു ട്രസ്റ്റ് ബിൽഡ് ചെയ്യൽ വലിയ പണിയാണ്. ഇപ്പൊ സാധാരണ ഒരു സ്റ്റാർട്ടപ്പ് എടുത്തു കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ ഒരു പ്രൊഡക്റ്റ് ലോഞ്ച് ചെയ്താൽ തന്നെ അതിൽ ട്രസ്റ്റ് ബിൽഡ് ചെയ്യുക വലിയ പണിയാണ്. പക്ഷെ ഇമോഷണലി അതിലേക്ക് ട്രസ്റ്റ് കൊണ്ടുവരാൻ പറ്റും. കാരണം നമ്മളൊരു ഇനീഷ്യേറ്റീവ് ആണ്, ഇതൊരു വലിയൊരു ഇനീഷ്യേറ്റീവ് ആണ്, ഇത് സോഷ്യലി വളരെ റിലവന്റ് ആയിട്ടുള്ള ഒരു പ്രൊഡക്റ്റ് ആണ് എന്നുള്ള ഒരു ഇതാണെങ്കിൽ ആൾക്കാർ പെട്ടെന്ന് അതിലേക്ക് ലെർക്ക് ചെയ്ത് വരും. ആൾക്കാർ അതിൽ സ്റ്റിക്ക് ഓൺ ചെയ്യും പ്രൊഡക്റ്റിൽ. ഈ ഒരു പുള്ളിക്കാരൻ ചോദിച്ചിരുന്നു, ക്യാൻ യു എലബറേറ്റ് എഡ്യൂക്കേഷൻ സെക്ടറിൽ മുനീർ ചോദിച്ചൊരു ചോദ്യമാണ്, ക്യാൻ യു എലബറേറ്റ് എഡ്യൂക്കേഷൻ സെക്ടർ യൂസ് കേസ്. ഇപ്പം എഡ്യൂക്കേഷൻ സെക്ടർ എടുത്തു കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ അതിൽ ഏറ്റവും വലിയ യൂസ് കേസ് പറയാൻ പറ്റുക, കുട്ടികള് ഇപ്പം ഓൺലൈനിലാണല്ലോ, മുഴുവനായിട്ട് ഓൺലൈൻ ക്ലാസ്സസ് ആണ് യൂസ് ചെയ്യുന്നത്. ഈ ഓൺലൈൻ ക്ലാസ്സസിന്റെ ഇന്ററാക്ഷൻ ഭയങ്കര ഡള്ളാക്കുന്നുണ്ട് ആൾക്കാരെ, കുട്ടികളെ ഭയങ്കരമായിട്ട് ഡള്ളാക്കുന്നുണ്ട്. അപ്പം ഇവരെ മെന്റൽ ഹെൽത്ത് വലിയൊരു ഇഷ്യൂ ആണ്. എഡ്യൂക്കേഷൻ സെക്ടറിൽ തന്നെ ഈ ഒരു മെന്റൽ ഹെൽത്തിൽ മാത്രം ബൂസ്റ്റ് ചെയ്യാൻ പറ്റും. മീൻസ് കുട്ടികൾക്ക് റിവാർഡ് കൊടുത്തുകൊണ്ടിരിക്കണം. ഇപ്പൊ ഒരു പ്രൊഡക്റ്റ് ഇപ്പൊ എഡ്യൂക്കേഷൻ സെക്ടറിൽ ലോഞ്ച് ചെയ്യുന്ന വിചാരിക്കാം, ഒരു ഓൺലൈൻ പ്ലാറ്റ്ഫോം തന്നെ, പുതിയൊരു ഓൺലൈൻ പ്ലാറ്റ്ഫോം, ഒരു പുതിയൊരു പ്രൊഡക്റ്റ് ആണ്. ഇതേപോലെ മറ്റേ ഗൂഗിൾ മീറ്റ് പോലെയല്ല, കുറച്ചും കൂടി ബൈജൂസ് മോഡലിൽ ഒരു ടാക്ക് ആണെങ്കിൽ അതില് അതന്നെ ലേണിംഗ് കണ്ടന്റ്, അതേപോലെയുള്ള ഒരു ലേണിംഗ് കണ്ടന്റ് പ്ലാറ്റ്ഫോം, അതൊരു പ്ലാറ്റ്ഫോം ആണെങ്കിൽ അത് കുട്ടികളെ മെന്റൽ ഹെൽത്ത്, അവർക്ക് ഇഷ്ടമുള്ള കാര്യങ്ങൾ കുറെ കാര്യങ്ങൾ ഉണ്ടാവും. ഈ പഠനം കൂടാതെയുള്ള ക്രാഫ്റ്റ് വർക്ക് ഉണ്ടാവും. എനിക്ക് ക്രാഫ്റ്റ് ഭയങ്കര ഇഷ്ടമാണ്, ഇപ്പൊ എനിക്ക് ക്രാഫ്റ്റ് ഇഷ്ടമാണ്. അതുപോലെ ഇതുപോലെ ക്രാഫ്റ്റ് വർക്ക്സ് ചില ആൾക്കാർക്ക്, ഇപ്പൊ കുട്ടികൾ ഏറ്റവും വലിയ പ്രശ്നം എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞു കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ, നമ്മളൊക്കെ കോളേജിൽ പഠിക്കുമ്പോൾ ക്യൂസസ് ഉണ്ടാവും, ഇങ്ങനെ ക്ലാസ് വൈസ് ക്യൂസസ് നടത്തും, അതിൽ കോമ്പറ്റീഷൻ വിൻ ചെയ്യുക, അല്ലെങ്കിൽ ഇങ്ങനെയുള്ള മത്സരങ്ങൾ നടത്തും. ഒരു മാസത്തിലേക്ക് ഒരു മത്സരമൊക്കെ നടന്നിട്ട് അതിൽ നിന്ന് വിൻ ചെയ്തിട്ടുള്ള പ്രൈസ് ഒക്കെ കിട്ടുമ്പോൾ ഒരു സാറ്റിസ്ഫാക്ഷൻ ഉണ്ടാകുന്നുണ്ട് ചില മത്സരങ്ങളിലൊക്കെ പങ്കെടുത്തിട്ട്, ചില കോമ്പറ്റീഷൻസിനൊക്കെ. അപ്പം ഈ സംഭവം കുട്ടികളിൽ നിന്ന് മനസ്സിലാക്കാൻ പറ്റണം. കുട്ടികളുടെ മെന്റാലിറ്റി എന്താണ്, അത് കുട്ടികളുടെ എൻഗേജ്മെന്റ് എങ്ങനെ ഉണ്ട് എന്നുള്ള അനുസരിച്ചിട്ട് കുട്ടികളുമായിട്ട് ചാറ്റ് ചെയ്തിട്ടോ, അതായത് മാഷന്മാര് കുട്ടികളോട് സംസാരിക്കുമ്പം ആ കുട്ടികൾ പറയുന്ന കാര്യങ്ങളൊക്കെ അനലൈസ് ചെയ്തിട്ട് അവർക്ക് ബെസ്റ്റ് എന്താണോ അത് ചെയ്യാന്നുള്ള രീതിയിൽ ഒരു ഡിഫറെന്റ് അപ്രോച്ചാണ് ഇത്. കുറച്ചും കൂടി മെന്റലി ആൾക്കാരെ ബൂസ്റ്റ് ചെയ്യാന്നുള്ള രീതിയിൽ, അത് കുട്ടികളൊക്കെ മനസ്സിലാക്കിയിട്ടുള്ള പരിപാടി, അത് ബാക്ക് എൻഡിൽ നടക്കണം ഇത്. എന്നിട്ട് ടീച്ചർമാരോട് പറയാം, ടീച്ചർമാർക്ക് റെക്കമെൻഡ് ചെയ്യുക, കുട്ടിക്ക് ഇന്നതാണ് ഇഷ്ടം, ഇന്ന കാര്യമാണ്, കുട്ടിയുടെ ഇൻട്രസ്റ്റ് ഇതാണ്, ഇതാണെന്നൊക്കെ പറഞ്ഞ അനാലിസിസും ഡാഷ്ബോർഡും പരിപാടിയൊക്കെ ആയിട്ട് ഒരു സെറ്റപ്പ് വേണമെങ്കിൽ എഡ്യൂക്കേഷൻ സെക്ടറിൽ ചെയ്യാൻ പറ്റും. അത് ഒരു പാർട്ടാണ്. പിന്നെ അതിന്റെ ഹയർ ലെവലില് ടീച്ചറെ തന്നെ AI ആക്കി മാറ്റുക എന്നുള്ളത്, അത് ഡെവലപ്പ് ആയില്ല, ചെയ്തുകൊണ്ടിരിക്കുന്നുണ്ട് ആൾക്കാർ, കംപ്ലീറ്റ്ലി റീപ്ലേസ് ചെയ്യാന്നുള്ള കേസ്. പക്ഷെ അത് കംപ്ലീറ്റ്ലി ഇപ്പോഴൊന്നും ആവില്ല, കുറെ കാലം എടുക്കും. അത് കുറച്ചും കൂടി ക്വാണ്ടം കമ്പ്യൂട്ടിംഗ് എന്നൊക്കെ പറഞ്ഞിട്ടുള്ള സെക്ടർ ഒക്കെ വന്നു കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ അത് നടക്കും. അല്ലാതെ ഇങ്ങനത്തെ ചെറിയ ചെറിയ ടാസ്ക് ഒക്കെ മനസ്സിലാക്കി, മാഷന്മാർക്ക് ഇത്രയും കുട്ടികളെ മനസ്സിലാക്കാൻ പറ്റില്ലല്ലോ, അപ്പം അവരെ പേഴ്സണൽ ഇൻട്രസ്റ്റ് മനസ്സിലാക്കുന്ന രീതിയിൽ വേണമെങ്കിൽ ചെയ്യാം. അതൊരു വലിയൊരു കാര്യമാണ്. അതുപോലെ ഒരു പ്രൊഡക്റ്റ് ലോഞ്ച് ചെയ്യുന്ന കേസിൽ ഇതേ സംഭവം തന്നെയാണ് ചെയ്യുന്നത്. ആൾക്കാരെ ഇൻട്രസ്റ്റ് മനസ്സിലാക്കിയിട്ട് അവർക്ക് കറക്റ്റ് ആയിട്ടുള്ള സാധനം എത്തിക്കുക എന്നുള്ളത്. അപ്പം
അവിടെയാണ് ചോദ്യം, ഈ ആൾക്കാർക്ക് ഇൻട്രസ്റ്റ് മനസ്സിലാക്കുന്ന വി ആർ ബിഫോർ എ ലാർജ് ഓഡിയൻസ്. ഈ ലാർജ് ഓഡിയൻസിലെ നമ്മുടെ ടാർഗറ്റഡ് കസ്റ്റമേഴ്സിനെ നമ്മൾ എങ്ങനെയാണ് ഐഡന്റിഫൈ ചെയ്യുന്നത്?
ഓക്കെ, അതിന് ഏറ്റവും വലിയ ഒരു ഐഡിയ എന്ന് പറയുന്നത്, മറ്റേ ഇപ്പം മെസ്സഞ്ചർ, നമ്മളിപ്പോ ഫേസ്ബുക്ക്, വാട്സാപ്പ് ഇതിലാണ് എൻഗേജ്ഡ്, ഇൻസ്റ്റ ഇതിലൊക്കെ എൻഗേജ്ഡ് ആണ് ഇപ്പൊ ഒട്ടുമിക്ക ആൾക്കാരും. എല്ലാവരും നിങ്ങൾക്ക് പറയാം, എല്ലാവരും വീട്ടിലാണ്. പിന്നെ യൂട്യൂബും. 4 പ്ലാറ്റ്ഫോമിൽ കിടന്ന് കറങ്ങും. നമ്മൾ ഇങ്ങനെ കറങ്ങിക്കൊണ്ടേയിരിക്കും. ഇതിൽ നമ്മൾ ഓരോ പ്ലാറ്റ്ഫോമിലും സെക്കൻഡ്സിൽ മാത്രമേ ഉണ്ടാവും. മേ ബി ഒരു 5 seconds ഒക്കെ ചിലപ്പോൾ ഇൻസ്റ്റയിൽ വെക്കും. അല്ലെങ്കിൽ ഇപ്പൊ യൂട്യൂബ് എടുത്തു കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ തന്നെ ചില എൻഗേജ്മെന്റ് ആണെങ്കിൽ അങ്ങനെ കണ്ടിന്യൂസ് പോകും. യൂട്യൂബിനെ വിട്ടേക്കാം. ഫേസ്ബുക്കും ഇൻസ്റ്റയും ഇതൊക്കെ എടുത്തു കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ കുറച്ച് സമയം എടുക്കും. ആ സമയത്തിനുള്ളിൽ ഈ സാധനം പെട്ടെന്ന് ക്യാപ്ചർ ചെയ്യുന്ന രീതിയിലായിരിക്കണം ഉണ്ടാവേണ്ടത്. ഐ തിങ്ക് ഇതായിരിക്കും ബെസ്റ്റ് മാർക്കറ്റിംഗ്. ഒരു പ്രൊഡക്റ്റ് ഇപ്പൊ ലോഞ്ച് ചെയ്യാൻ പറ്റി കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ പറ്റുന്ന ഇതാണ്. അപ്പം ഇതിൽ AI ഇൻട്രൊഡ്യൂസ് ചെയ്യുക പറയുന്നത് ചാറ്റ്ബോട്ട് സിസ്റ്റംസ് ആണ് ഏറ്റവും ബെസ്റ്റ് ആയിട്ട് തോന്നുന്നത്. എനിക്ക് തോന്നുന്നത് ഇത് ഒരാളെ മീൻസ് പെട്ടെന്ന് ഇതിലേക്ക് ഇൻട്രൊഡ്യൂസ് ചെയ്യാന്ന് പറയുന്നത് അവർക്ക് പെട്ടെന്ന് ഒരു പ്രൊഡക്റ്റ് വാങ്ങണം എന്ന് വിചാരിക്കാം. അപ്പം നിങ്ങളെ സിസ്റ്റമാണ് ഈസി ആയിട്ട് അത് വാങ്ങാൻ പറ്റുകയാണെങ്കിൽ അവരത് വാങ്ങിയിരിക്കും. അത് പ്രശ്നമൊന്നുമില്ല. നിങ്ങളെ പ്രൊഡക്റ്റിന്റെ വാലിഡേഷൻ അത്ര ഉണ്ടെങ്കിൽ
അത് നന്ദകിഷോർ, അതായത് ഞാൻ എന്റെ സമയം കുറവായത് കൊണ്ടാട്ടോ എന്റെ പേരിനെ ഒരു ചാറ്റ് ബോട്ടിലേക്ക് ഒരാൾ വന്ന് കിട്ടി കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ ഫൈൻ.
അത് എത്തിക്കലാണ് പ്രശ്നം അല്ലേ?
പക്ഷെ ആ ചാറ്റ് ബോട്ടിലേക്ക് വന്ന് കിട്ടാനുള്ള അയാളുടെ ഐഡന്റിഫൈ ചെയ്യാനും അയാൾ അതിലേക്ക് കിട്ടാനും ഡെഫിനറ്റ്ലി ഡിജിറ്റൽ മാർക്കറ്റിംഗ് നമ്മളെ കുറച്ച് ഹെൽപ്പ് ചെയ്യും. പക്ഷെ ഞാൻ ഒരു എക്സാമ്പിൾ ഞാൻ പറയാം. നമ്മുടെ കമ്മത്തിന്റെ GS കമ്മത്തിന്റെ പ്രോഡക്റ്റ് ബുക്ക് സേവ എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞ സാധനം കേരളത്തിലെ ഒരുമാതിരി എല്ലാ വിശ്വാസികൾക്കും ആവശ്യമുള്ളതാണ്. പക്ഷെ ഇറ്റ്സ് എ ബ്രോഡ് മാർക്കറ്റ്. അത് വളരെ സ്പെസിഫിക് ആയിട്ട് ആൾക്കാരെ കണ്ടെത്തിയിട്ട് കമ്മത്തിന് എങ്ങനെയാണ് ആ ബുക്ക് സേവയിലേക്ക് ആൾക്കാരെ കൊണ്ടുവരാൻ പറ്റും.
അതിന് ഏറ്റവും നല്ല അതിന് ഇതിപ്പോ ഓൾറെഡി എക്സിസ്റ്റിംഗ് പ്ലാറ്റ്ഫോം ത്രൂ ആയിട്ടുള്ള പരിപാടീസ് അല്ല നമുക്ക് പറയാൻ പറ്റും. അല്ലാതെ ഇപ്പം നമ്മൾ എടുത്തു കഴിഞ്ഞാല് സോഷ്യൽ മീഡിയ മാർക്കറ്റിംഗ് എന്ന് പറയുന്നില്ല പ്ലാറ്റ്ഫോം തന്നെ പോകേണ്ടി വരും ഈ ഒരു സെക്ടറിലേക്ക് പോകണമെങ്കിൽ. ഇങ്ങനെ ക്യാപ്ചർ ചെയ്യണമെങ്കിൽ ബിഗ് ഡാറ്റ തന്നെ എടുത്ത് ചെയ്യേണ്ടി വരും. ഓൾമോസ്റ്റ് ഇപ്പൊ നിങ്ങൾക്ക് ഒരു സ്വന്തമായിട്ട് ഒരു വെബ്സൈറ്റ് ഉണ്ടെങ്കിൽ കുക്കീസും ക്യാഷസും വെച്ച് ചെയ്യാം. അതില് ക്യാഷസും വെച്ച് നമുക്ക് ആൾക്കാരെ ഐഡന്റിഫൈ ചെയ്യാൻ പറ്റും, കറക്റ്റ് ടാർഗറ്റ് ചെയ്യാൻ പറ്റും അനലറ്റിക്സ് വഴി ബാക്ക് എൻഡില്. അപ്പം അതങ്ങനെ ചെയ്യാം വെബ്സൈറ്റ് ത്രൂ ആയിട്ട്. എല്ലാ ഡിജിറ്റൽ മാർക്കറ്റിംഗ് ത്രൂ സോഷ്യൽ മീഡിയ ആണെങ്കിൽ ഐ തിങ്ക് ഗോ ഫോർ കമ്പനീസ് ദാറ്റ് ആർ ഡൂയിങ് ദിസ് അനലറ്റിക്സ്. അതായത് ഈ ക്ലൗഡ് അനലറ്റിക്സ് പ്ലാറ്റ്ഫോംസ് ഉണ്ട്. AI ML വെച്ചിട്ട് നിങ്ങളെ കറക്റ്റ് ടാർഗറ്റ് ചെയ്ത് തരും. ഏതാണോ വേണ്ടത് അവരെ കറക്റ്റ് പെയ്ഡ് തന്നെ ആയിരിക്കണം. അല്ലാതെ ഇപ്പം ക്ലൗഡില് ഞാൻ നോക്കിയിട്ടില്ല ഇതുവരെയായിട്ട്, ഞാൻ അതിലേക്ക് തിരിഞ്ഞിട്ടില്ല. ഇപ്പൊ AWS ഒക്കെ പ്രൊവൈഡ് ചെയ്യുന്നുണ്ടോ അറിയില്ല. അവരെ മാർക്കറ്റ് പ്ലേസസ് ഉണ്ട് AWSന്റെ ഒക്കെ. അവർ ചിലപ്പം കറക്റ്റ് ആയിട്ട് കണക്ട് ചെയ്ത് തരും. ഇന്ന സെക്ടറിൽ കറക്റ്റ് ഈ പ്രൊഡക്റ്റ് മാച്ച് ആവും, നിങ്ങൾ അവരെ നോക്കിക്കോ എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞു കഴിഞ്ഞാല് അത് കറക്റ്റ് ആയി ചെയ്തു തരും അവര് നമുക്ക് വേണ്ടിയിട്ട്. ഉണ്ട്, അതുണ്ട്. കറക്റ്റ് ആയിട്ട് അവര് കുറെ ടൂൾസ് ഉണ്ട്, ഈ ഫേസ്ബുക്ക് ഡെവലപ്പിംഗ് ടൂൾസ് ഉണ്ട്. അത് യൂസ് ചെയ്തിട്ടാ സാധാരണ ചെയ്യുക. അവര് കണക്ട് ചെയ്ത് ചില ആൾക്കാരൊക്കെ നമ്മള് വെബ്സൈറ്റ് വിസിറ്റ് ചെയ്താൽ തന്നെ അവരിപ്പോ കണക്ട്. ഞാൻ ഇപ്പൊ ക്രോമ യൂസ് ചെയ്യുന്നത്. ഈ ക്രോമിന്റെ പ്രത്യേകത പറഞ്ഞു കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ തന്നെ കംപ്ലീറ്റ് എടുക്കും ഡാറ്റ. ഞാൻ സംസാരിക്കുന്ന നമുക്ക് ഈ സാധനം എടുക്കുന്നുണ്ട്. ഇതിപ്പോ ഞാൻ സംസാരിച്ച പോലെ ഒക്കെ FBയിൽ ആഡ് ആയിട്ട് വരും അടുത്ത് തന്നെ. അതാണ് അതിന്റെ പ്രത്യേകത. അതൊക്കെ
the point is persons like Dr. Jayan, how do you attract people like Jayan to get into GSK? Best problem statement like Dr. Jayan. Statement adana.
See, ultimately AI ആണോ ML ആണോ വാട്ടർ അപ്പൊ ആ റവന്യൂ കൊണ്ടുവരാൻ വേണ്ടിട്ട് നമുക്ക് എന്താ ചെയ്യാൻ പറ്റുക എന്നുള്ളതാണ് നമ്മുടെ
സെന്റിമെന്റ്സ് ആണ് ആക്ച്വലി. സെന്റിമെന്റ്സ് അതന്നെയായിരിക്കണം ഏറ്റവും. പ്രൊഡക്റ്റിൽ നമ്മളെ സെന്റിമെന്റ് കൊണ്ടുവന്നു കഴിഞ്ഞാല് ആൾക്കാർ ബൈ ചെയ്യും, അത് ഉറപ്പാണ്. അത് ഒരുപാട് ടെസ്റ്റഡ് ആണ്. ഈവൻ സിസ്കോന്റെ ഒക്കെ പല ചാലഞ്ചസിൽ അവർ പറയുന്ന പിച്ച് ഡെക്കിൽ പറയുന്ന ഒരു പോയിന്റ് ആണ് ഈ സാധനം. നിങ്ങൾ പ്രൊഡക്റ്റ് ആണെങ്കിൽ പോലും അതിൽ കുറച്ച് സെന്റിമെന്റ് കയറ്റി വെച്ച് കഴിഞ്ഞാല്
analytics and Dr. Jain, analytics, sentiment analysis, lot of things are available which you can target it to look at
ഒരു ഡെവലപ്പർ ആണെങ്കിൽ അത് ചെയ്യാം. ഫേസ്ബുക്ക് ഡെവലപ്പിംഗ് ടൂൾസ് ഉണ്ട്. ഡെവലപ്പർ ഞാൻ അതിൽ ചെയ്തിരുന്നു. ഫേസ്ബുക്ക് ഹാക്കത്തോൺ ടൈമിലൊക്കെ അത് ചെയ്തിരുന്നു അനലറ്റിക്സ്. അപ്പം അതിൽ നമുക്ക് ഈ ടൂൾസ് യൂസ് ചെയ്തിട്ട് എടുക്കാൻ പറ്റും ഫീഡ്ബാക്സ്. നേരത്തെ പറഞ്ഞ പോലെ ഗൂഗിൾ മറ്റേ AWSന്റെ ഉണ്ട് അത് സർവീസസ്.
Now, Mr. Sabu, you have raised your hand. We are just running out of time. We are already 9:40.
Sorry, yeah. I realized that I realized that I was just thinking about that earlier gentleman. He was talking about natural language processing and all
Mr.
that.
Manoj, yes.
Yeah, Mr. Manoj. So one of the holy grails of computing languages is to merge human language with computer languages.
Right.
So if you study Noam Chomsky's work, he's a linguist, and other linguists, they are desperately trying to figure out how it can do, but that is a huge, like you can say, holy grail if that really happens. Because there are, the problem which I see in all these areas was best explained by even what Dr. Jain was mentioning, that who will sell the cat, who will come and actually give you, what do you say, the exposure for your whatever product you're offering, and that is where the marketing will then start. In all these topics, the point which we all have to very carefully look at was explained very nicely by Abraham Maslow. Abraham Maslow was the psychologist from New York, and he came up with a very sharp statement, that if all we had was a hammer, then all problems will look like a nail. That is a human bias. If I am now, like, for example, take me, I am an architect, and I am so immersed in that subject, I feel this, if I look at it from an architect's point of view, I can solve it. Or if somebody else is in some other area, like if we are very much interested in RDBMS, I know one friend of mine who is so engrossed in RDBMS, he thinks that every problem can be solved through RDBMS. So the point which we are today in computing is that the people who have got the expertise of various things, like psychology, for example, I was hearing some points about psychology. It's very risky to bring in our knowledge as a technical person into an area where there are a lot of other knowledge which needs to be also brought in, like marketing or language, linguistics. These are all very, very hairy subjects. And if we think that we have a tool and that tool is very impressive, and that is what is going to create the solution, I think we need to pause and think a lot. That's what I was kind of trying to.
I agree. I agree with that. Very true. So I think we are really, great. We have about 18, 20 people now. So towards the end as well. If there are no more questions, can we conclude? Romy, yes, last question, right? So I think no more hands raising. All the hands are going down, okay? Because we are running out of time. Yes, Romy.
Yes, Nandakishor, hello. ഞാൻ ഗ്രൂപ്പിൽ ഒരു സ്റ്റാറ്റിസ്റ്റിക്കൽ മോഡലിങ്ങിനെ പറ്റി ഇട്ടായിരുന്നു. അപ്പൊ നമുക്ക് ഒരു AI/ML വെച്ച് നമുക്ക് മോഡൽ ചെയ്താൽ നമുക്ക് അതിന് ഈ മോഡലിംഗിൽ നമുക്ക് പാറ്റേൺഷിപ്പ് എടുക്കാൻ പറ്റും. അല്ലെങ്കിൽ കുറച്ചും കൂടെ വ്യക്തമായി പറഞ്ഞാൽ AI/ML നമുക്ക് ആക്ച്വലി പാറ്റന്റബിൾ ആണോ?
ഓക്കെ, പേറ്റന്റബിലിറ്റി എടുക്കാനുള്ള ഒരു ബുദ്ധിമുട്ടുണ്ട് ഇതിൽ. കാരണം മെഷീൻ ലേണിംഗ് മോഡൽസ് ഒക്കെ, ഒട്ടുമിക്ക മെഷീൻ ലേണിംഗ് ലൈബ്രറീസ് ഓപ്പൺ സോഴ്സ്ഡ് ആണ്. ഇവൻ ടെൻസർഫ്ലോ, പൈടോർച്ച് ഇതുപോലുള്ള ലൈബ്രറീസ് ഒക്കെ ഓപ്പൺ സോഴ്സ്ഡ് ആണ്. പേറ്റന്റ് ചെയ്യാൻ പറ്റും, ഒരു കുഴപ്പമില്ല. പ്രൊഫഷണൽ പാറ്റന്റ് ഇപ്പൊ വേണമെങ്കിൽ എടുക്കാം, ഒരാഴ്ച കൊണ്ട് നിങ്ങൾക്ക് പ്രൊഫഷണൽ പാറ്റന്റ് കിട്ടും. അതിന് നിങ്ങൾക്ക് പേറ്റന്റബിൾ ആണോ ഇല്ലയോ എന്നുള്ള പ്രശ്നമൊന്നുമില്ല. പക്ഷേ പ്രശ്നം എന്താ വെച്ച് കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ, പ്രൊഫഷണൽ പേറ്റന്റ് പറഞ്ഞു കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ ഒരു വർഷത്തേക്ക് പേറ്റന്റ് ഉണ്ട്. അതിനുശേഷം പേറ്റന്റ് പുതുക്കിയിട്ടില്ലെങ്കിൽ അത് പോകും, നമുക്ക് പ്രശ്നമാവും. മീൻസ് പേറ്റന്റ് കംപ്ലീറ്റ് റിജക്റ്റഡ് ആണ്. അത് റിസർച്ചിന് വേണ്ടിയിട്ടാണ് 1 year തരിക. ടോട്ടൽ 21 years കിട്ടും പേറ്റന്റ് ഗ്രാൻഡ് ആയി കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ, 21 years. അപ്പോ ഈ സാധനം പേറ്റന്റബിൾ ആണോ എന്ന് ചോദിച്ചു കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ, ഫ്രാങ്ക്ലി സ്പീക്കിംഗ് പേറ്റന്റബിൾ ആക്കാൻ പറ്റില്ല മെഷീൻ ലേണിംഗ് മോഡൽസ്. അത് നിങ്ങൾ പ്രൊപ്രൈറ്ററി ആയിട്ടുള്ള ഒരു സോഫ്റ്റ്വെയർ ആണെങ്കിൽ ചെയ്യുന്നുണ്ടെങ്കിൽ നിങ്ങൾക്ക് ചെയ്യാം. പക്ഷെ നമ്മളൊരു പേറ്റന്റ് ചെയ്യുമ്പോൾ ഒരു 5 or 6 ക്ലെയിംസ് എന്തായാലും കൊടുക്കേണ്ടി വരും. 5 to 6 ക്ലെയിംസ് ആണ് സ്റ്റാൻഡേർഡ് പറയാ പേറ്റന്റ്. ആദ്യം പേറ്റന്റ് സെർച്ച് ചെയ്യും, എന്നിട്ട് അതിനുശേഷം പേറ്റന്റ് ഡ്രാഫ്റ്റ് ചെയ്യുക. അത് ശരിക്കും പേറ്റന്റ് അറ്റോർണീസ് ത്രൂ ആയിട്ട് ചെയ്യുക. ഞാൻ ചെയ്തത് IP പ്ലെയർ എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞിട്ടുള്ള ഒരു കമ്പനിയാണ്, അവിടെ അറ്റോർണീസ് ആയിട്ടാണ് ഞാൻ ചെയ്തിട്ടുണ്ടായിരുന്നത്. അപ്പൊ നമ്മളെ ക്ലെയിംസ് അവർ സെറ്റ് ചെയ്ത് തരും. അപ്പം ഒരു പേറ്റന്റ് അറ്റോർണി ആയിട്ട് സംസാരിച്ചിട്ട് അതിങ്ങനെ ട്രയൽ ആൻഡ് എറർ ചെയ്യലാണ്. സാധാരണ പേറ്റന്റ് ഡ്രാഫ്റ്റ് അങ്ങനെയാണ്, ട്രയൽ ആൻഡ് എററിലാണ് പേറ്റന്റ് ക്ലെയിംസ് സെറ്റ് ചെയ്യുക. അതൊരു ഫുൾ പേറ്റന്റ് ആണെങ്കിൽ അത് കറക്റ്റ് ആയിട്ട് ക്ലെയിംസ് കൊടുക്കണം. പ്രൊവിഷനിലാണെങ്കിൽ അങ്ങനെ ക്ലെയിംസ് നമ്മൾ കൊടുക്കേണ്ടി വരുന്നില്ല ആദ്യം. നമ്മൾ ജസ്റ്റ് എന്താണ് ഇന്നോവേഷൻ അങ്ങനെ പേറ്റന്റ് ചെയ്യലാണ്. ഇനിയിപ്പം നിങ്ങളൊരു മോഡൽ ഉണ്ടാക്കുകയാണെങ്കിൽ അതിൽ എന്താണ് ഇന്നോവേഷൻ? കുറെ കാര്യങ്ങളുണ്ട്. ഇന്നോവേഷൻ ഉണ്ട്, പിന്നെ ബിസിനസ്സിൽ മീൻസ് എത്രത്തോളം ബിസിനസ് ഓറിയന്റഡ് ആണ് ആ പ്രൊഡക്റ്റ്, പിന്നെ വേറെ ആർക്കും ഇത് ഇപ്പോഴും മാർക്കറ്റിൽ അവൈലബിൾ അല്ലല്ലോ, അങ്ങനത്തെ കുറെ കാര്യങ്ങളുണ്ട് ഇതിൽ. അപ്പം ഇതുപോലുള്ള ഓപ്പൺ സോഴ്സിൽ ചെയ്ത സാധനം പേറ്റന്റബിൾ ചെയ്യല് കുറച്ച് പണിയാണ്. പക്ഷെ ഡിസൈൻ പേറ്റന്റ്സ് ഒക്കെ ചിലപ്പോൾ എടുക്കാൻ പറ്റും. സോഫ്റ്റ്വെയർസ് പേറ്റന്റ്സ് എടുക്കാറുണ്ട്. ബട്ട് ഇപ്പം പേറ്റന്റബിൾ ആക്കുക എന്ന് പറയുന്നത്, മെഷീൻ ലേണിംഗ് മോഡൽസ് പേറ്റന്റ് ആക്കുക എന്ന് പറയുന്നത് വലിയ ബുദ്ധിമുട്ടാണ്. കാരണം ഒന്ന്, അതിന്റെ എക്സ്പ്ലെയിനബിലിറ്റി വലിയ ഇഷ്യൂ ആണ്. സാധനം എക്സ്പ്ലെയിൻ ചെയ്യാൻ പറ്റില്ല മര്യാദത്തിൽ. എങ്ങനെ അത് പ്രെഡിക്റ്റ് ചെയ്യും നമുക്ക് ഇപ്പോഴും ഒരു ബ്ലാക്ക് ബോക്സ് സിസ്റ്റത്തിലാണ് പറയാ. ബ്ലാക്ക് ബോക്സ് ആണ് ഓൾമോസ്റ്റ്. അപ്പൊ അതിനെ കംപ്ലീറ്റ് നമുക്ക് എക്സ്പ്ലെയിൻ ചെയ്യാൻ പറ്റില്ല. അപ്പൊ ക്ലെയിംസ് സെറ്റ് ചെയ്യാൻ പറ്റില്ല. പിന്നെ അതാണ് അതിന്റെ ഏറ്റവും വലിയൊരു പ്രോബ്ലം. എനിവേ മെഷീൻ ലേണിംഗ് AI എന്ന് പറയുന്നത് ഇറ്റ്സ് നത്തിങ് ബട്ട് എ ഫംഗ്ഷൻ. ഒരു ഫംഗ്ഷൻ, നമ്മൾ ഒരു റിസൾട്ടും ഉണ്ട്. നമ്മൾ ഈ ഫംഗ്ഷൻ നമുക്കൊരു ഔട്ട്പുട്ട് വേണം. ഔട്ട്പുട്ടാണ് എൻഡിലുള്ളത്. ഒരു ഫംഗ്ഷനും ഉണ്ട്. ഈ ഫംഗ്ഷനിലൂടെ നമ്മൾ ഡാറ്റ കൊടുക്കും. എന്നിട്ട് ഔട്ട്പുട്ട് ഡിസൈഡ് ഔട്ട്പുട്ട് കിട്ടാൻ വേണ്ടി. അപ്പം ഇതിന്റെ ഇടയ്ക്ക് നമ്മൾ അതിന്റെ ലോസ് കുറച്ച് അവസാനം ഒരു ഒപ്റ്റിമൈസ്ഡ് ആയിട്ടുള്ള ഒരു ഫംഗ്ഷൻ ഡെവലപ്പ് ചെയ്യും. അതിന്റെ വെയ്റ്റ്സ് ആൻഡ് ബയാസസ് സേവ് ചെയ്യും. അത് ഒരു കൺവല്യൂഷൻ ന്യൂറൽ നെറ്റ്വർക്ക് ആവാം, റെക്കറന്റ് ന്യൂറൽ നെറ്റ്വർക്ക്, എന്ത് വേണമെങ്കിൽ ആവാം. അപ്പൊ അൾട്ടിമേറ്റ്ലി ഈ മോഡൽസിനകത്തൊക്കെ ഉണ്ടാവുക കുറെ വെയ്റ്റ്സ് ആൻഡ് ബയാസസ് ആണ്. പക്ഷെ ഇതിനെങ്ങനെയാണ് ഓരോ ഡാറ്റയിലും, ഓരോ ഡാറ്റ നമ്മളൊരു ഇമേജ് ഡാറ്റ ആണെങ്കിൽ മെട്രിസസ് ആണ്, പിക്സൽസ് ആണ്, പിക്സൽസ് ആണ് ഇതിലേക്ക് കൊടുക്കുക. അപ്പം ഈ സാധനം എങ്ങനെയാണ് ഇതിനനുസരിച്ച് റെസ്പോണ്ട് ചെയ്യാന്ന് പറയാൻ പറ്റില്ല. സോ ആ എക്സ്പ്ലെയിനബിലിറ്റി ഇഷ്യൂസ് നമുക്ക് ക്ലെയിംസിനെ ബാധിക്കും. അപ്പൊ നമുക്ക് ആ ക്ലെയിംസ് മര്യാദക്ക് സെറ്റ് ചെയ്യാൻ പറ്റില്ല. അപ്പം ഇതിന്റെ യൂസ് കേസ് ഉണ്ടെങ്കിലും ആ ഓവറോൾ എക്സ്പ്ലെയിനബിലിറ്റി ഇഷ്യൂസ് ഇപ്പോഴും ഉണ്ട്. ബട്ട് മോസ്റ്റ് ഓഫ് ദി ലൈബ്രറീസ്, ഈവൻ ടെൻസർഫ്ലോ പോലും ഇൻ മൈ നോളജ് ശരിയാണെങ്കിൽ അത് പ്രൊപ്രൈറ്ററി ആയിരുന്നു അറ്റ് എ ടൈം. അതൊരു പ്രൊപ്രൈറ്ററി ആയിട്ടുള്ള സോഫ്റ്റ്വെയർസ് ആയിരുന്നു. പിന്നെ ഓപ്പൺ സി വി ഒക്കെ ആദ്യമേ ഓപ്പൺ സോഴ്സ്ഡ് ആയിരുന്നു. പക്ഷെ പല ഓപ്പൺ സി വി ലൈബ്രറീസും കമ്പ്യൂട്ടർ വിഷൻ ലൈബ്രറീസും പ്രൊപ്രൈറ്ററി തന്നെ ആയിരുന്നു. പിന്നെ അത് അവർ ഓപ്പൺ സോഴ്സ് ആക്കി പലതും. അപ്പം നിങ്ങൾ കംപ്ലീറ്റ്ലി ന്യൂ ആയിട്ട് ചെയ്യുകയാണെങ്കിൽ ഡസന്റ് മാറ്റർ. ബട്ട് പ്രോഗ്രാമിക്കലി നിങ്ങൾക്ക് നല്ല ഓൾട്ടറേഷൻ വരുത്താൻ പറ്റുകയാണെങ്കിൽ ആൽഗോരിതം സിസ്റ്റംസ് ഒക്കെ വേണമെങ്കിൽ ചെയ്യാം. പക്ഷെ മോഡൽസ് ഐ ഡോണ്ട് തിങ്ക് ഇറ്റ് ക്യാൻ ബി patented.
I agree with that. What Nandakishor said. Models is not possible unless you do use the model and create some other, then it's possible for you to look at that.
അപ്പം ഒരു പ്രൈമറി, ഒരു ഹെൽത്ത് കെയറിന് ഇപ്പൊ ഒരു പ്രൈമറി സ്ക്രീനിങ് പ്രോട്ടോകോൾ ഉണ്ട്. അതൊരു ഒബ്സല്യൂട്ട് ആണ്. അപ്പൊ ഞാനൊരു പ്രൈമറി ഹെൽത്ത് കെയർ സ്ക്രീനിങ് പ്രോട്ടോകോൾ അതൊരു ഡ്രോണിൽ ഇന്റഗ്രേറ്റ് ചെയ്താൽ എനിക്ക് അത് പാറ്റന്റ് ചെയ്യാൻ പറ്റും?
പറ്റും, അത് പറ്റും. അതായത് നമ്മള് ഇങ്ങനത്തെ അപ്ലിക്കേഷൻ വരുമ്പോൾ ഡിസൈൻ പാറ്റേൺസിലേക്ക് പോകുന്നത്, അത് നിങ്ങൾ ഡിസൈൻ ചെയ്തിട്ടാണ് കറക്റ്റ് ആയിട്ട് ആ ഡ്രോണിൽ വെച്ചിട്ട് പേറ്റന്റ് കണ്ടിട്ടുണ്ടാവില്ലേ, കുറെ ലൈനൊക്കെ ഇട്ടിട്ട് നമ്പേഴ്സ് ഒക്കെ എഴുതിയിട്ടില്ലേ. അപ്പം ആ ഡിസൈൻ പാറ്റേൺസ് നമുക്ക് ചെയ്യാം. ഇതിന്റെ ആപ്ലിക്കേഷൻ ആണത്. എന്നിട്ട് ഈ സാധനം അവർ പേറ്റന്റ് സെർച്ച് ചെയ്യും. നിങ്ങൾ ഇപ്പം IPFlyer, IPXL ഉള്ള കമ്പനീസ് ആയിട്ട് കോൺടാക്ട് ചെയ്ത് കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ അവർ അറ്റോർണീസ് നിങ്ങളെ സാധനം സെർച്ച് ചെയ്ത് തരും. ഒരു പ്രൊവിഷണൽ എടുക്കാൻ 15,000 രൂപ ആവും എന്റെ ടൈമിലാണെങ്കിൽ. ഇപ്പൊ എത്രയാണ് അറിയില്ല. ഫുൾ പേറ്റന്റ് എടുക്കാൻ 35,000 ആണ് കഴിഞ്ഞ പ്രാവശ്യം പറഞ്ഞിട്ടുണ്ടായത്. അപ്പം 35,000 ഇന്ത്യൻ റുപ്പി. അപ്പം ഈ നിങ്ങൾക്ക് ഈ സാധനം അവരോട് കോൺടാക്ട് ചെയ്ത് കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ അവർ പേറ്റന്റ് സെർച്ച് ചെയ്തിട്ട് ഇതേപോലുള്ള പേറ്റന്റ് ഐഡന്റിഫൈ ചെയ്യും. വൈഡിലാണ്. നമ്മൾ കേരള ഗവൺമെന്റ് ചെയ്തിട്ട്, ഞാൻ ചെയ്തേരം കേരള ഗവൺമെന്റിന്റെ ആയിരുന്നു പേറ്റന്റ് സെർച്ച് ചെയ്തത്. അത്ര നല്ലതല്ല, കാരണം അവർ അത്ര നന്നായിട്ട് ചെയ്യുന്നില്ല. അപ്പം പക്ഷെ 2 മാസം എടുക്കും, അതും 2 മാസം എടുക്കും. ഇവരാകുമ്പോൾ ഒരു 10 ദിവസത്തിനുള്ളിൽ സാധനം റെഡിയാക്കി തരും, കമ്പനീസ് ആണെങ്കിൽ. അപ്പം എന്ത് ചെയ്യേണ്ടത് വെച്ച് കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ ഇവരെ കോൺടാക്ട് ചെയ്യുക, പേറ്റന്റ് സെർച്ച് ചെയ്യുക, സിമിലർ പേറ്റന്റ് ഉണ്ടെങ്കിൽ മോഡിഫൈ ചെയ്തിട്ട് പേറ്റന്റ് ഫയൽ ചെയ്യാം. നിങ്ങളെ മുകളിൽ ഫൈൻ ട്യൂൺ ചെയ്തിട്ട് പേറ്റന്റ് ഫയൽ ചെയ്യാൻ പറ്റും.
പേറ്റന്റ് ഫയലിംഗ് നമുക്ക് ബിന്ദു ഹാഡ് ടേക്കൻ എ സെഷൻ, റൈറ്റ്? സോ ഇറ്റ് വാസ് വെരി ഡീറ്റെയിൽഡ്. നമുക്ക് എങ്ങനെ ചെയ്യണം കാര്യങ്ങളൊക്കെ നമുക്ക് വ്യക്തമായിട്ട് ഡിസ്കസ് ചെയ്തായിരുന്നു. സ്പെസിഫിക്കലി ലുക്കിംഗ് അറ്റ് ML ഫ്രെയിംവർക്കിന്റെ മോഡൽ നമുക്ക് എന്ത് ചെയ്യാൻ പറ്റുന്നതായിരുന്നു റോണിന്റെ പ്രോബ്ലി ക്വസ്റ്റ്യൻ അല്ലേ റോമി?
അതെ. അല്ല, ഞാൻ ഇപ്പൊ പറഞ്ഞ എനിക്ക് കേട്ടില്ല.
ഞാൻ പറഞ്ഞത് റോമി പറഞ്ഞ സാധനം ഇതിനെ ഇപ്പൊ ഒരു സാധനം നമ്മൾ ഒരു മോഡൽ യൂസ് ചെയ്തിട്ട് അതിനെ ഇംപ്ലിമെന്റ് ചെയ്തിട്ട് ആ കംപ്ലീറ്റ് സൊല്യൂഷനെ നമുക്ക് പേറ്റന്റ് ചെയ്യാൻ പറ്റും, റൈറ്റ്? സോ ഫോർ ദാറ്റ് പ്രോബ്ലി യു നീഡ് ടു check with Bindu or somebody who is from that particular industry who can help you.
Tony, നിങ്ങൾക്ക് ഒരു ആർക്കിടെക്ചർ ഡിസൈൻ ചെയ്യാൻ പറ്റുകയാണെങ്കിൽ അത് പേറ്റന്റ് ചെയ്യാം. ഈവൻ ഒരു ML ആർക്കിടെക്ചർ, ന്യൂ നോവൽ ആർക്കിടെക്ചർ ആണെങ്കിൽ അതൊക്കെ പേറ്റന്റ് ചെയ്യാം. ന്യൂ ലൈബ്രറീസ് ആണെങ്കിൽ പേറ്റന്റ് ചെയ്യാം. എക്സിസ്റ്റിംഗ് ലൈബ്രറീസിനെ കംപ്ലീറ്റ്ലി ഒരു ത്രഷോൾഡിന് മുകളിൽ മോഡിഫൈ ചെയ്തിട്ടാണ് ചെയ്യുന്നുണ്ടെങ്കിൽ അതും പേറ്റന്റബിൾ ആണ്. എനിവേ നിങ്ങൾക്ക് എന്തും പേറ്റന്റ് ചെയ്യാം, എപ്പോൾ വേണമെങ്കിൽ എന്ത് വേണമെങ്കിൽ പേറ്റന്റ് ചെയ്യാം. പക്ഷെ പേറ്റന്റ് മീൻസ് പേറ്റന്റ് ഗ്രാൻഡ് കിട്ടാൻ 2-4-5 വർഷമൊക്കെ എടുക്കും. സോ പ്രൊട്ടക്ട് ചെയ്ത് വെക്കാം അവിടെ. പേറ്റന്റ് റിജക്ട് ആവും, ഒരു 10-15,000 അല്ലെങ്കിൽ 30,000-50,000 രൂപ പോകും ഉള്ളൂ. പക്ഷെ സാധനം ഇവിടെ പ്രൊട്ടക്റ്റഡ് ആയിരിക്കും. ഗ്രാൻഡ് ഒക്കെ കിട്ടി റിജക്ട് ആവാൻ ടൈം എടുക്കും. നിങ്ങൾക്ക് പ്രൊവിഷണൽ ചെയ്യുന്നതായിരിക്കും ബെറ്റർ. ഐ തിങ്ക് നിങ്ങളുടെ പ്രൊഡക്റ്റ് കംപ്ലീറ്റ്ലി റെഡി അല്ലെങ്കിൽ പ്രൊവിഷണൽ ചെയ്ത് വെക്കുക. എന്നിട്ട് പിന്നെ ഒരു വർഷം ആവുമ്പം സാധനം മര്യാദക്ക് വർക്കാവുന്നില്ലെങ്കിൽ അത് റിജക്ട് ചെയ്യുക, ഒഴിവാക്കുക. എന്നിട്ട് അല്ലെങ്കിൽ വർക്കാവുന്നുണ്ടെങ്കിൽ ക്ലെയിംസ് കൊടുത്തിട്ട് ഫുൾ പേറ്റന്റ് ഫയൽ ചെയ്യാം. റിസർച്ചിലാണെങ്കിൽ കംപ്ലീറ്റ് പ്രൊഡക്റ്റ് ആണെങ്കിൽ ഒന്നും നോക്കണ്ട, ഫുൾ പേറ്റന്റ് ഫയൽ ചെയ്യാം.
Okay, so I think chat box Mr. Sambu wondered patents cannot be well supported for software. All right. So anyway, so I think we will end. Right. Nandakishor, thanks a lot. Very informative session, I don't know, and a lot of new message, new information has been shared at this platform. And thanks for coming over and sharing, your knowledge of AI, ML, and robotics to the entire KSN family. Thank you very much. Good night, all. We will catch up for the next session, which probably we will be announcing it later.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. Good night.
Thank you, everyone.